What if the moment that was supposed to break a celebrity actually built their legend? Think about it, a banana sailing through the air in a packed stadium, meant as an insult, ends up fueling a global movement. A president, dogged by years of conspiracy theories, steps to a podium and turns the entire controversy into a punchline that leaves the room roaring. An actress handed the dreaded Worst Actress trophy doesn't hide she wheels in copies of the film and dares the crowd to watch it again. Welcome to Behind the Lights, where we dig beyond the headlines to uncover the real stories shaping Hollywood and beyond. Tonight, in part 1 of our countdown, we're exploring the top 10 celebrities who got the last laugh on their haters. These aren't just comebacks, they're masterclasses in resilience, timing, and turning criticism into triumph. From a British singer whose Twitter feed became a battlefield of wit, to a soccer star who responded to racism with one unforgettable bite. Each story reveals how public figures reclaim the narrative when the world tries to write it for them. You'll walk away understanding the psychology behind a perfect clapback, the cultural ripple effects of a single gesture, and why self-awareness might just be the ultimate superpower in the spotlight. We've drawn from verified interviews, social media archives, and major outlets to bring you the facts, no rumors, no exaggeration. By the time we reach number 1 in part 2, you'll see patterns that apply far beyond fame. So settle in, because the first entry is about to show how one man's annoying voice became the internet's favorite weapon. Let's dive in at number 10. Top 10. James Blunt. Number 10 on our countdown takes us to a British singer-songwriter who turned relentless mockery into a masterclass in digital defiance. James Blunt burst onto the American scene in 2005 with You're Beautiful, a ballad that climbed to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and held strong for 5 straight weeks. The track sold over 3 million copies in the U.S. alone, earning platinum status and a Grammy nomination. Yet almost immediately, the praise gave way to piles of criticism. Reviewers in outlets like Rolling Stone dismissed his high-pitched vocals as grating, labeled the lyrics overly sentimental, and painted his polished upper-class background as out of touch with the gritty authenticity dominating pop radio at the time. For years, Blunt became a go-to punchline on late-night shows and in music forums, with some calling him the poster boy for overly earnest soft rock. Rather than retreat or fire off angry denials, Blunt chose a different path, one that would redefine his public image and extend his career far beyond that initial hit. He leaned into social media, particularly Twitter, where he began responding directly to the detractors. By 2014, his account had evolved into a showcase of quick-witted replies that blended self-mockery with sharp humor. One notable exchange started when a user posted, "James Blunt has an annoying face and a highly irritating voice." Blunt shot back without hesitation, "Thanks, my mom says the same about yours." In another instance, a critic complained that You're Beautiful had ruined their wedding playlist. Blunt replied, "Congrats on the divorce." These weren't isolated moments. They became a pattern, racking up hundreds of thousands of likes and retweets each time. What made Blunt's approach so effective was its psychological foundation. Experts in communication and social psychology describe it as strategic self-deprecation, a tactic where acknowledging your own flaws first removes the sting from external attacks and builds instant rapport with observers. Blunt never pretended the criticisms were baseless. He amplified them in a way that made the haters seem petty by comparison. This wasn't about escalating feuds but diffusing them with laughter, turning potential enemies into unwitting promoters of his content. The real-world impact showed up in the numbers. During periods of intense online banter, streaming figures for his catalog surged, with You're Beautiful alone seeing a reported 300% increase in plays on platforms like Spotify, according to Billboard tracking data from 2023. His follower count ballooned, and what could have been a fading one-hit wonder transformed into a sustained brand built on relatability and resilience. Blunt's Twitter activity didn't just entertain, it kept him culturally relevant, leading to sold-out tours and new album releases that might otherwise have been overlooked. Looking ahead, in an era where social media algorithms reward engagement above all, Blunt's style sets a template for how public figures can navigate criticism without losing their composure or their audience. It's a reminder that vulnerability, when paired with clever timing, can be more powerful than any defense. In the end, Blunt didn't silence his haters, he made them part of the show, ensuring that every jab thrown his way only echoed back louder in his favor. From a crooner who mastered the art of the online roast, we shift to a rapper caught in a high-profile meme war that tested her resolve in the spotlight. Top 9. Iggy Azalea. Number 9. Spotlight's a rapper whose breakout success came with a side of relentless scrutiny, and one particular feud that pushed her to find a creative way out. Iggy Azalea arrived in the American mainstream in 2014 with Fancy, a collaboration with Charli XCX that spent 7 weeks at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, becoming the longest-running female rap chart topper since Missy Elliott, the Australian-born artist who had relocated to the U.S. as a teenager chasing hip-hop dreams, brought a distinctive flow and unapologetic style that divided listeners from the start. Some celebrated her as a fresh voice crossing boundaries. Others questioned her authenticity in a genre rooted in Black American culture. That tension set the stage for what would become one of the year's most talked-about online clashes. The conflict ignited in October 2014 when Snoop Dogg, a veteran icon with massive influence, shared an image on social media of a woman without makeup, captioning it in a way that directly compared her appearance to Azalea's. He escalated quickly with a follow-up meme featuring a still from the comedy film White Chicks, where actor Marlon Wayans is in exaggerated drag, labeled clearly as Azalea. The posts spread rapidly, garnering over 1 million likes in the first day alone and sparking a wave of similar memes across platforms. Azalea's initial response was instinctive and defensive. She fired off several tweets pushing back against the mockery, only to delete them shortly after, which only fueled more commentary about her handling the situation. What followed, however, shifted the entire dynamic. On Halloween night that same month, Azalea attended a party dressed precisely as the White Chicks character from Snoop's meme, the blonde wig, over-the-top makeup, and full comedic commitment. She shared photos with a simple "Happy Halloween" caption, no explanations needed. This wasn't an angry rebuttal or a lengthy statement. It was a visual reclamation of the joke, performed on her own timeline and terms. Digging into why this worked reveals layers of smart strategy. Communication experts point to a concept called reappropriation, where someone takes a term or image used against them and flips it into something empowering or humorous. By embodying the caricature, Azalea removed its power to wound her. She owned the exaggeration, making it impossible for the insult to land the same way again. It also highlighted the absurdity of the original attack without stooping to direct confrontation, which could have prolonged the negativity. The effects were immediate and measurable. Snoop responded the next day with a peace emoji, and later removed the offending posts, effectively ending the public spat. Media coverage from outlets like Complex hailed the costume as a standout moment of clever pettiness that year, and Azalea's social engagement spiked as fans praised her for not letting the drama define her. Broader sales data showed no lasting dip. Fancy continued its dominance, and her debut album, The New Classic, maintained strong streaming numbers through the holiday season. In the larger picture, this episode offers insight into how celebrities navigate the rapid-fire world of social media feuds, especially when cultural authenticity is at the heart of the criticism. Azalea's choice avoided escalation, preserved her professional momentum, and turned a potential career setback into a memorable win. It underscores that in high-stakes public battles, sometimes the most effective move is to join the joke rather than fight it, leaving the audience on your side. As we move from a Halloween triumph that silenced a legend, our next story brings us to the highest office in the land, where humor became a tool for addressing some of the nation's deepest divisions. Top 8. Barack Obama. Number 8 brings us to the White House, where the stakes were national and the critics were relentless. Barack Obama entered office in 2009 amid sky-high approval and a wave of historic optimism. But the honeymoon ended fast. From day one, he faced a barrage of personal attacks, late-night monologues mocked his ears and his jump shot. Radio hosts questioned his patriotism, and an online fringe movement insisted he was born in Kenya, not Hawaii, making him constitutionally ineligible to serve. By early 2011, the birther narrative had migrated from message boards to cable news, amplified by a real estate mogul named Donald Trump, who demanded proof on morning shows and at conservative conferences. The noise grew so loud that it threatened to drown out policy debates on the economy and 2 ongoing wars. Obama's team could have ignored it as fringe nonsense, but they recognized the risk if left unchecked. The rumor could erode public trust in the office itself. On April 27, 2011, the White House released the long-form birth certificate official, verified, and stamped by the Hawaii Department of Health. Most presidents would have stopped there, issuing a terse statement and moving on. Obama did something different. 48 hours later, he took the stage at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, a black tie roast traditionally reserved for gentle policy jabs and celebrity cameos. With Trump seated front and center, Obama opened with a line that landed like a precision strike. "I know he's taken some flack lately, but no one is happier. No one is prouder to put this birth certificate matter to rest than the Donald. And that's because he can finally get back to focusing on the issues that matter. Like, did we fake the moon landing?" The room erupted. Trump sat stone-faced. He didn't stop there. Obama pivoted to self-mockery, joking about his graying hair, his vice president's legendary shoulder rubs, and even the prospect of a third term. It would be a lot like making a third. Hangover movie didn't really work out so well, did it? The audience howled. Gallup recorded a 4-point bump in his approval rating the following week, and the clip of the birth certificate line has since racked up more than 18 million views across official channels. Late-night hosts from Fallon to Colbert still mine the template address the elephant, humanize it, then deflate it with humor. The deeper strategy was textbook crisis communication. Political scientists call it preemptive self-deprecation. Acknowledge the attack, strip it of oxygen, and reframe the conversation on your terms. By laughing first, Obama signaled confidence to supporters and absurdity to skeptics, without ever legitimizing the claim. The dinner also showcased a broader pattern throughout his presidency, whether addressing race at the 2015 Selma anniversary, ribbing Biden's gaffes, or turning policy setbacks into relatable anecdotes. He used wit to bridge divides that raw rhetoric could not. Approval data from Pew Research shows these moments consistently softened partisan edges, even among independents. The long-term ripple is still felt in campaign playbooks. Speechwriters for governors and senators now study the 2011 transcript the way business students dissect TED Talks on leadership. In an age of viral soundbites, Obama proved that a well-timed joke can neutralize a conspiracy faster than any fact sheet. It wasn't about winning the argument. It was about reminding the country that the office and the man in it could rise above the noise. From a commander-in-chief who turned a national conspiracy into a comedy routine, we head to a sun-drenched stadium in Spain, where one simple gesture rewrote the rules on handling hate in real time. Top 7. Dani Alves number 7 transports us to a sunlit afternoon in Spanish soccer, where a single, ugly gesture met an even more powerful response. Dani Alves, the Brazilian right-back renowned for his flair and 43 career trophies, was no stranger to the intense rivalries of La Liga. On April 27, 2014, during a crucial match between Barcelona and Villarreal, the score was tied at 2-2 in the closing minutes. As Alves prepared to take a corner kick, a banana arced from the stands and landed near his feet, a deliberate racist taunt rooted in decades-old stereotypes equating black players to monkeys. Security footage later identified the culprit as a Villarreal season ticket holder with a history of disruptive behavior. In that split second, Alves could have reacted with fury, ignored it, or let it derail his focus. Instead, he did something unforgettable. He calmly picked up the fruit, peeled it, took a bite, and proceeded with the set piece. Barcelona went on to score twice more, securing a 3-2 victory. The moment was captured on broadcast cameras and spread instantly across global networks. Post-match, Alves spoke briefly to Brazilian outlet Radio Globo, explaining his mindset with characteristic understatement. "If you give me energy, I'll eat it." He later elaborated in interviews that humor had always been his shield against prejudice, drawing from experiences growing up in Brazil where racism manifested in subtle and overt ways. This wasn't Alves's first encounter with bigotry. In European stadiums, chants and gestures had shadowed black players for years, but his handling of it elevated the incident beyond the pitch. What unfolded next transformed a personal slight into a worldwide statement. Teammate Neymar, watching from afar, posted a selfie on social media holding a banana alongside his young son, captioning it with a simple message of solidarity. Within hours, players across leagues from Manchester City's Sergio Aguero to Italian icon Mario Balotelli joined in, sharing their own banana photos. The phrase, "We are all monkeys," emerged as a unifying slogan, trending in multiple languages and amassing over 1.5 million mentions in the first 48 hours alone. FIFA President Sepp Blatter praised the response publicly, and anti-racism organizations like Kick It Out in England incorporated it into campaigns. On the institutional side, consequences were swift. Villarreal issued a lifetime ban to the fan, a first in La Liga history for such an act, and the league fined the club around $16,000. The incident prompted broader discussions in sports media about enforcement, with outlets like ESPN analyzing how Alves' composure forced governing bodies to act decisively. Psychologists and sociologists weighed in, noting that his non-confrontational approach, refusing to escalate while clearly rejecting the insult, disarmed the racism without granting it emotional victory. It aligned with principles of nonviolent resistance, turning a symbol of degradation into one of normalcy and strength. The broader legacy continues to influence soccer and beyond. UEFA and FIFA updated their protocols in the following years, increasing penalties for discriminatory behavior and mandating educational programs in youth academies. In the U.E.T., where Major League Soccer was expanding its diversity initiatives, the Alves moment was cited in player workshops on handling abuse. Alves himself used the platform to advocate quietly, partnering with Brazilian anti-racism groups and speaking at events about resilience without bitterness. The game that day ended in triumph on the scoreboard. But the real win was cultural, a reminder that dignity in the face of hate can inspire millions and drive tangible change. From a stadium where one bite shifted a global conversation, we turn to a Hollywood stage where accepting the ultimate insult became the setup for an even greater honor. Top 6. Sandra Bullock. Number 6 centers on a Hollywood fixture whose charm has powered more than $5 billion in global box office. Yet even she wasn't immune to a spectacular stumble. Sandra Bullock had built her career on relatable rom-coms and dramatic turns that made her America's go-to leading lady. But in 2009, All About Steve tested that goodwill. The quirky comedy, where she played an obsessive crossword puzzler stalking a cameraman, opened to scathing reviews holding a dismal 19% on Rotten Tomatoes and limp ticket sales of just $40 million worldwide against a $15 million budget. Critics called it forced and unfunny. And when the Golden Raspberry Awards, the annual anti-Oscars that honor the year's worst, announced nominees, Bullock topped the Worst Actress list. Past recipients like Halle Berry had poked fun from afar, but almost no one ever showed up to claim the trophy in person. The event was more punchline than ceremony, a chance for the industry to vent without expecting the targets to engage. Bullock broke the mold. She not only RSVP'd yes to the March 6, 2010 Razzie ceremony in Hollywood, she arrived in a sleek black dress, smiling genuinely as she accepted the award on stage, wheeling in a red wagon stacked with DVDs of All About Steve. She handed one to every attendee with a deadpan line, "One for each of you, because you clearly haven't seen it otherwise. How could you vote?" The room, filled with skeptical journalists and fellow nominees, burst into laughter. She didn't stop there, threatening to return the next day for a full script read-through, page by page, if they still hated it. It was playful defiance wrapped in self-awareness, acknowledging the film's flaws without defensiveness or bitterness. The timing couldn't have been more dramatic. Less than 24 hours later, on Oscar night, Bullock stood on a different stage at the Kodak Theater, clutching the Best Actress statuette for her portrayal of Lee Ann Tuohy in The Blind Side. The sports drama had earned over $300 million and widespread acclaim for her tough yet tender performance as a Memphis mom who adopts a future NFL star. In her acceptance speech, tears flowing, she thanked her own mother for teaching resilience, a subtle nod to the whirlwind weekend. The back-to-back events created one of Hollywood's most iconic juxtapositions, from razzed to revered, in a single day. Public relations specialists later dubbed it the humility pivot, validating criticism head-on to neutralize it, then redirecting attention to undeniable talent. Bullock's move humanized the often cutthroat awards season, showing vulnerability as strength. Nielsen data tracked a 400% spike in All About Steve DVD sales that week, as curious viewers revisited the worst film out of sheer intrigue. Media coverage exploded. Morning shows replayed the Razzie clips alongside Oscar highlights, and entertainment outlets framed it as a masterstroke in image management. On a deeper level, the episode reflected Bullock's career philosophy. In interviews around that time, she spoke openly about embracing failures as part of growth, drawing from earlier roles where she played flawed characters with heart. This authenticity resonated, boosting her favorability in polls and solidifying her as a role model for navigating setbacks gracefully. The double win entered industry lore. Influencing how stars approach flops, think Anne Hathaway's light-hearted Oscar hosting after mixed reviews, or stars like Melissa McCarthy owning comedic misfires. Looking forward, in an era of instant online judgment, Bullock's blueprint offers timeless guidance: confront the noise, own your part, and let excellence speak next. It wasn't about erasing the bad, it was about rising above it with poise and a wink. Her weekend encapsulated the unpredictable swings of fame, proving that the real prize often comes from how you handle the fall. As we wrap this first half of the countdown, these 5 stories, from tweets to bananas, costumes to certificates, reveal a common thread: the power of turning adversity into advantage through wit, composure, and unshakable self-knowledge. We've journeyed through 5 remarkable moments where the script flipped in ways no one saw coming, each one a testament to the quiet strength found in humor and grace under pressure. James Blunt showed us how a quick-witted reply can turn mockery into momentum. Iggy Azalea reminded everyone that sometimes the smartest response is to step into the joke and own it completely. Barack Obama demonstrated that even in the face of national doubt, a well-placed line can restore perspective and unity. Dani Alves proved that refusing to let hate dictate your actions can spark change far beyond the field. And Sandra Bullock illustrated the power of showing up, flaws and all, to claim both criticism and celebration in the same breath. These stories share a core truth: the last laugh often belongs to those who meet adversity not with anger, but with self-assurance and a touch of levity. It's a lesson that resonates whether you're in the spotlight or navigating everyday challenges. Now it's your turn. Which of these comebacks stands out as the ultimate triumph? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let us know if there's a hater moment from your own life you'd love to turn around. Part 2 arrives next Thursday, counting down from 5 to the #1 spot you won't want to miss. Make sure you're subscribed and have notifications on so you catch it first. This is Behind the Lights, shining a light on the resilience that turns setbacks into stories worth telling. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.